Hey guys, welcome back to Martha May's Off Topic. I just wanted to say thank you guys for tuning in to us again. We appreciate the love. Please welcome back my co-host Zyron Speaks.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning back in with us. It's always a pleasure to be here and doing this and talking to Martha and talking to you guys and just kicking it, chilling. How you doing?
Yes, what we do best.
Facts.
Um, I hate saying this, but I'm sleepy as fuck.
I feel like we say this every year where we're like, oh, it's getting so dark outside. So like it does it every year, but it throws you off every year as well. Like,
Bro,
yeah.
it does. It does 100%. Um, like 5, 6 o'clock, I'm like ready for bed. Yeah,
If we weren't recording, I'd probably be in bed already.
no, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%, or like just powering down to go to bed.
Yes.
All right, so one thing, I'm gonna throw a wrench in our plans real quick. One thing that I really been wanting to do is kind of shout out the people who've been supporting us, who've given us input, given us reviews, been telling their friends, whatever the case is. So I have a little list here um, of people who have right off the bat just kind of been supportive to us. So I'd like to thank just my family, my brothers, my mom, Billy, Keisha, my aunt Kaya, all of the people who've just wanted to tune in and support me. Jared, Sam, Vanessa, Ray Miller, Tevin, Anthony, Miss D, my mom's friend, Cody, one of my coworkers. She's following us on Instagram, and she's been super supportive when it comes to like recording and just motivating us she's like, yeah, you should post on YouTube, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Just whatever you guys have been doing, please keep doing it. Like, please keep supporting us. Please keep, whenever we come to you guys, it's super important to us that you just continue to support us, and we'll just, continue to keep fucking dishing out. So,
Yes.
yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I've been really trying to come up with that list of people. So again, thank you guys so much.
Thank you all so much. I really want to emphasize Vanessa. Girl, we quote you
Yes.
all the time on here. Love you so much.
Yes.
One of my favorite people to ever exist. Thank you so much. I also want to give a big shout out to my girl Annie from back home. We go way back. Actually, this conversation is going to be great for us. And so, shouting you out is only right,
I
especially
love
because of
that.
this topic. I also want to give a shout out to my neighbor Ariana. That's my girl. And, we've been neighbors for well over a year, but we didn't really get close until this year. And, like, we have been kicking it and going tongue and going stuff. And I'm always thankful for her messages and getting her opinion and her feedback. I'm so thankful for my coworker Elijah who gave me some feedback. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Bree. Thank you, Kayla, so much. I'm so appreciative of you guys. Every time you guys tell me that y'all listen, I'm always happy. Um,
Yes. Thank you
yes,
guys from the bottom of our hearts, for real, because
yeah,
it's nice to, like, even the small following that we have, it's nice to know that people are listening. It's nice to know that, people can give us feedback and, just be there, you know what I mean?
yeah.
For when we're trying to put stuff out. So thank you guys so much.
Oh, one more. To my mentor, my ace Boo Coon, you've been knowing me for so long and you still support everything that I do. And so I want to give a big shout out to my dog Tito back in OKC. Thank you. Always. Thank you, and thank you. Always.
Yes. Thank you so much for everything that you're going to continue to do, and all the support that you're going to continue to give us. So
Yeah.
we really appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay. So we got a good one for you guys. I keep reading everywhere that over half Americans hate their fucking jobs. hate their jobs, and we want to talk about workplace happiness.
We want to talk
We want to
about
talk
it.
about, yes, we want to talk about workplace happiness and what that means, how you can possibly be happy at a job you despise, you loathe, right? So, Zyron, I think we talked about, you had a question for us.
So, like, I want to just know, like, what have you ever had a workplace that you enjoy? Like, have you ever had a workplace that, like, even on like a bad shitty day, your coffee is made wrong, traffic is bad, like, but you get to work and like work is like a happy spot because I know a lot of us have workplaces that aren't good, but have you ever had a workplace that you genuinely enjoy? Like, it was good to go there.
Yes, a couple.
Ooh,
Um,
give me
the
one.
best job I, the best job I've ever had was coaching JV volleyball at a local high school. And for anyone who's ever going to listen to this, ever, who I've just by chance have coached or taught something to at all, I loved it. I loved it. And there are a couple reasons. First of all, volleyball is my fucking favorite sport. Second of all, I played it all 4 years in high school. So I had the basics, right? So I could teach the basics to
Mhm.
people. And I know that you know from experience that when you coach someone, that shit hits way different than you learning it yourself, right? It hits way different than you just being able to learn it yourself and do it yourself. So one of the things was for me, these girls didn't know how to hit a volleyball, didn't know what to do with a volleyball, didn't know anything from a can of paint when it came to volleyball. And all of a sudden, they're serving over the net. And all of a sudden, they're spiking. And all of a sudden, and it's because of me. And I'm like, holy shit, this
Yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
And so it made me feel so accomplished, but it was so nice to watch somebody's growth. And like throughout the 2 months that I was there, practice like 5 times a week or whatever the case is, and games on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it was just, and it was an outlet for them, and you can tell. And they were proud of it, and you can tell. So, yeah, that was the best job I've ever had.
Oh, I love that. We talk about this coaching life, and
Yes.
it's a big one. Oh my gosh. Coaches are an impact. Like teachers are an impact themselves, but coaches are like that
Mm-hmm.
extra push. Like the bond with the coach is one of a kind because you really listen to what your coach says.
100%.
And so I like that. I like that was one of your best jobs right there, especially because you're working with kids. Like you're trying to teach them, and so I love that.
And they're like high school kids, they're at that stage
Yeah.
where they think they know themselves a little bit better, a little, like they know themselves a little bit better, and they're going through so many changes from middle school to high school, especially if they're like freshmen and sophomores in high school. They're going through so many changes. uh and some people are late bloomers, you know what I mean, and some people have hit puberty a little bit earlier. But now you're in sports, and now you have to juggle sports, and you have to juggle, your social life, and you have to juggle school, and maybe you have a job, and whatever the case is. And I think at that point it's super important, because your coaching ability can really, like you said, really make an impact.
You're shaping
How about
futures.
you? Yeah,
Um,
exactly. How about you?
my gosh. My favorite job was the job right before the military, actually, and that was Sunglass Hut. And I started there in March,
Okay.
and I worked there until I was in what was I? It was August. Like I worked there until like maybe a week before I decked out. Um, and I'll never forget like the day I even walked in, like trying to get like the card or get the application to apply. I met Sav, and me and Sav was really just talking, 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 and talking. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna apply. And so I applied, and I interviewed, and I'll never forget the interview with Susan. And like me and Susan was just interviewing and talking. And then I had to go to like a second interview, which was another store that was upstairs because there was like three stores in that mall. I don't know. Um, but I had to do the guy, one with the guy. He's very fucking attractive, let me just say. But I'm young and still, I'm like a little senior, so I'm like, just talking, trying to get through the interview. I'll never forget when I got hired. Um, I started working. That's where I met Annie. Annie, my girl. I love her so much. And
Okay.
so such
Hi, Annie.
such a light in my life. And like I remember working with her and I promoted really fast. I became a key holder and I was working with customers. The next thing I was closing the store by myself and running the store by
Damn.
myself and stuff. And I was like before the first month even hit. Like it was so fast, but I was enjoying every moment of it. Like the atmosphere of work was cool, and so
Mm-hmm.
man, like I'll never forget. Like my manager Susan came, and Susan was like, um, "So they're moving me stores." I said, "So you're taking me with you?" And she was like, I could ask. I said, if you don't take me with you, I'm quitting. Like, it's no. But she managed. She took me with her. Sometimes I would go back and like substitute with the store. I did it a couple of times with Annie. Annie became like the big manager over there. Love that for her. Oh my gosh. Yo, like the bond that I had with my coworkers to die for. Like we talked, we chatted, we kicked it together. Like one day we all went on like a 3 mile run at the lake. Like we would go to the gym
Oh my
together. We would go
goodness.
to lunch together, go get dinner. We was buying each other food. And my manager treated me like I was one of her kids. She didn't even have kids,
Oh.
but she treated me like her kid, like my a graduation gift, going away gifts, like just here, let me get you food, like coming in to check on us to bring us food and stuff. And I mean, like we worked as a team. We had like little issues, we did, and so in those issues, we all would get together and sit and discuss it. We didn't just bicker at each other. We discussed our problems so
Right.
that we didn't have a hostile work environment. And it was just such a good experience for a job. Like the flexibility, the trust that they had, like, and we had each other's back always too. That's one thing I can say is like I
Right.
mean, we would just, if such and such is sick and not feeling well, okay, I got you, but you need to get me back. But we didn't even have to say that because you just know to, help this person back out. And we just worked as a team. And I'll never forget that job. Any interview, any place I talk to, I talk about Sunglass Hut because it literally showed me like how to function in a good workplace that's fast paced and even when it's slow, like just how to just be a good worker and have good workers, have good people. It set a bar that a lot of places don't meet, honestly. Um, and
Facts. a
so yeah,
hundred
I
percent.
I really really enjoyed Sunglass Hut. I
You talk
st-
about it quite a
I
bit.
still talk to a couple of people from there, like often, often.
S- So I want to kind of harp on something you said. Setting the bar for, and you just being blessed to have known a good work environment. You know what I mean? And you know now
Hmm.
that this is what a good work environment is. So when this is not happening, what are we doing to fix it?
No
Right.
fact,
And do I gotta leave?
fact.
Like, because is that fixing it? Like, do I have to go? So, I definitely, definitely, definitely love that for you. And I love that we've experienced that. You know what I mean? Love that it was a place where we were happy to go.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of people, I was reading an article and it was saying how, do you hate your job? Here are some signs that you could possibly fucking hate your job.
Hmm.
And one of the things that it was saying was you feel anxiety when the weekend is through. You feel anxiety when going back to your job. And that's exactly how I felt in active duty. Every Sunday that I didn't have duty, I was like, holy cow, I got to
let's
go back to this freaking job.
let's hit that right there. Just duty on its own. My
So, for
goodness.
those of you who are not in the Navy or not in a duty kind of status, whether you're at work at a hospital or whether you work overnight or whatever.
Schools.
It just means, right, it just means that you have to be on call in this particular place for 24 hours. So you can't go home. You can't go home. And so that happened for us. That happens every what, 5. It depends on how many kind of it depends on how your command is designed and how many people are at your command, this or that. And so basically we'd have to stay overnight away from our families, away from our beds, away from this or that. And it doesn't sound bad, but the nuances of what the day entails, pain in the ass. What's like, especially if so say for example, you had duty on a Sunday and you were going underway on a Monday.
Which happened to me. And guess what? That fucking underway turned into, instead of a month and a half, like 4 fucking months. Like, like that. Like, no say. You have no
Yeah.
say in none of
Yeah.
this. Like,
Absolutely not.
your ass is out here. Like, you are with the rest of us.
Oh
I
yeah.
will say the
Absolutely.
only thing I think that really helped me like appreciate that was the people,
Mm-hmm.
like Vanessa, like my boy Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
like Justin, like like my Chief Davis at the time. Like I had, oh my gosh, I met like Carlos. Oh my god, I met. Oh my goodness, I made some friends because of that shit right there. Okay, we
Yes.
bonded because we were stuck together and we had each other. It's so many names I could drop right now, and y'all know who I'm talking about. Like I truly appreciate you guys. That right there is what
Mm-hmm.
made that workplace right there tolerable, was having people. That
Mm-hmm.
right there can make or
People.
break a fucking workplace, because you can
It
have
can
really
make, yep.
shitty workers or you can have good workers. And like I just said about Sunglass Hut, we had our moments with each other where it's like, damn, like, but it never got too bad to where we didn't talk it out. We talked it out every single time and we bounced back. It was never a work day there where I went to work and I dreaded working. Like it was never like that. And I
It's
talk about that often with people. And I feel like I say that to you. I don't ever want to be going somewhere to a job and like, fuck, I gotta go to work, like hating it. That's not how a person should be working. Especially because we have to work to
Nope.
live
Yep. And we spend most of our time at
at
work,
work in a day.
40 hours or more a week. That's a lot of hours. And so a lot of hours of your life. Let's put it like that. And so the people can definitely make or break it. And I feel like I've also met some fantastic people along the way who've made the Navy tolerable,
You talk about
make work
we
now
talk look,
tolerable.
we talk about trauma bonding.
Right, exactly. So people have made it so much better. So one of the things that I was kind of looking up and researching for this topic
Hmm.
was, how do you thug it out when you absolutely loathe your job? How do you thug it out until you find better? You know? So some of the things that you and I kind of talk about often is repaying yourself, kind of recharging your batteries when you go home, whatever that means for you. And we support healthy ways of
Hmm.
recharging your batteries,
Hmm.
right? Not, and I'm sure everyone has their unhealthy. I'm sure everyone has their unhealthy coping mechanisms, right? So I won't, I won't shed light on those. But repaying yourself for the hard work that you put in this week, or repaying your in whatever way that is. So if you've been holding out on that fucking little pint of ice cream, fucking have at it. Or if
Get that
you've been
motherfucking ice cream.
if you've been, saving up for something, reward yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do some self-care, whatever that looks like for you. Another thing is highlighting your strengths. And I just want to put this out there. I am not a professional. These are just some of the ways that I thought of
Yes.
or that I've done
To help ourselves.
in the past to help myself. Yeah, to help ourselves just kind of get through it.
You know what?
Okay, so hmm,
Go ahead.
okay. So highlighting your strengths.
Hmm.
So that means, so say for example, I fucking hate my job. I can't stand going there every day. Like I, one of the things that I hear, I bust my ass for this job, or I put in all the fucking work, or go
You
ahead.
know that movie Hidden Figures and Taraji is like, I worked like a dog day and night, drinking coffee from a pot. None of you want to touch. When I tell you that was one motherfucking scene out of a movie right there that
You felt it.
felt in my
You were
soul. We worked for
you
one of
were
the worst fucking
silent.
people ever. Me and you together, and multiple of us. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And that scene, I would direct it towards that bitch any day in life. Drinking coffee from a pot, none of you want to touch. But I'm working like a dog day and night to get nothing from you. Okay, continue. Thugging it out. We're thugging it out, okay? Y'all.
So, okay. So and that's it, right? So one of the things, how are you working your ass off?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I stressed to my junior sailors, and one thing that I would stress to everyone, is to write down your fucking highlights. Write down the things that you contribute to this fucking job, because those, I'm going to hit on this later, those are the things that are going to stand out when you need another job, when you need another
Yes.
thing to kind of bounce
Yes.
back on.
Yes.
You busting your ass? Okay, how the fuck are you busting your ass? Give me some numbers, give me some stats, give me some achievements, give me some accomplishments. So yes, highlight your strengths.
I will say this too though, because I feel like because the workplace, like workplace is like home, damn near because you spend so much time there. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure, like when we talk about like you thugging it out, but you know in some instances, you know, whenever you tired of some shit, you know you need to let go. At this point, another thing to start doing is start reaching out, applying, and making connections. Y'all, take it from me. Before the military, I worked like 7 jobs. I think it's 7. But I never went once without a job before I had another one lined up. Like, and there were some like let me see. I started at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was a good ass job too. I work with classmates, like hella fucking classmates. Like some of them, those was my bitches for real, for real. Like, but I was like, okay, I want more money, and so I worked at Pizza Hut. I talked to my manager, like, yeah, I'm moving on to bigger pay. She was happy for me, and I worked there, put in my 2 weeks, did both jobs. It was summer, and I left that job for another one. Shit was getting bad with that job. I was not fucking with their rules and antics. Start putting my shit in for another one. Wasn't working there no more, had another job. At that job, I was like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, I see this is not going to work out for me either. And I rolled on. I did not stick around for anything. I think the military has been the one thing that I've stuck around with a lot more because of a contract than any other job. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you now, if I could have put in a 2 weeks or a year notice a long time ago, a bitch would have rolled out like back in like 2020. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
Um, I just
Yeah.
make
So
sure that go ahead. Make sure y'all are
no,
doing
no, it's
make
okay.
sure you're taking those steps to like reach out and put your foot in the door because it really is easier to get a job when you already have a job. I believe in that. I
Yes.
really do believe in that.
Um, and so I'm gonna have you kind of touch on that a little bit more, just a little bit more later on when I have some other things I want to put out too.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna have you touch on that. I'm actually gonna have you touch on this too. Find a work friend. Find someone who you vibe with, who is going to make your work life bearable, because trust me, it's going to make a fucking
It
difference.
does.
And I
It
think
does.
a lot of us, or okay, I'm not going to say a lot of us, I'm going to speak for myself personally. There's always out of a group of people, no matter where I go, there's always someone, at least one person I gravitate toward.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're constantly being put in group settings, then maybe you're that person too. So for me, finding a work friend is not hard at all. So I would highly encourage people to find a work friend. My next one is hobbies. Hobbies. I cannot stress this enough. My friend Sam and I talk about this shit all the time. I don't understand how people don't have hobbies. I don't understand how people don't have outlying interests outside of spending 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week at work. Healthy/healthy distractions. We have our nuances and things that, like kids, the
Mm-hmm.
dog,
Mm-hmm.
the husband, whoever, you know what I'm saying? But those can also be healthy distractions if you let them, like date night with your significant other, or taking the kids out to their favorite, wherever you take them to. Just kind of relishing in those kind of happy moments and happy distractions, a project you're working on, like whatever it is, your side hustle, your labor of love, whatever it is, right? Another thing is taking breaks at work. It is so important to take breaks at work. It's different when you're on a deployment. And for the people in, what I mean, like overseas in the Middle East, it's a little different for you guys. And kudos to you guys, because I could not. Or if you are a sailor and you're out to sea, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little bit different. And you just have to kind of figure out what taking a break means for you. But obviously, by taking a break, I mean step away from whatever the fuck is stressing you out. And if you have, it makes me think of that movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie, and she teaches the guy how to be an assassin. And so the boss, before he quits his job, she's like nagging at him and putting a stapler in front of his face like that and just yelling at him constantly. Being able to say, hey, I'm stepping away from this before I knock you the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Stuff like that.
That's important. What person doesn't need a break? Like even whenever we're walking dogs or your animals and with horses and stuff, at some point you give them a break. Like you let them get still for a second. We as the
Right.
people need that shit too. We're not robots.
Exactly.
And so
Ooh.
I'm
That.
I'm really big on like, because emotionally, whenever if your mental is not right, your physical is not right. And if your physical is not right, your spirit may not be right. Like so many things can be happening to you. And if you keep overworking it, you're going to hurt something. I told my therapist that actually, I want to share this that I told him I was like, I feel like I'm unaligned because everything is, bouncing, so much stuff is happening that, I'm not lined up where I need to be. And I need to
Right.
before I hurt something or myself or somebody. I don't want to
Mm.
get to that point. So I kind of need those breaks to be able to bring myself back down out of a faster, higher pace, whatever it is. If it's too much, it's too much. Give yourself a break. Do not
Mm.
overwork or overpush yourself because we will do that because we have like goals or something
Mm-hmm.
that we're trying to achieve or we're trying to impress somebody. Listen, if
Mm-hmm.
this job loses you, you can be replaced. That's, I
100%.
believe that is like 98% of jobs here. You are replaceable.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
make sure that you're being gentle with yourself in that way for sure.
I love when you say that.
Hmm.
You tell me that. You tell me that, and I fucking love it. Yes.
People have been
Okay.
saying that to
So
me
one
all
last thing.
year and I'm just not learning. Yeah.
Um, it's hard. It's hard to
Hmm.
be kind of, and you. It's hard, and so we need to be reminded. Um, So one last thing, trying to find, even if there is the smallest thing that you enjoy about this job, even if it's just whether it's shooting the shit with somebody, whether it's you know, the little bit of admin you get to do to yourself at the end of the day, whatever it is, enjoy it, exploit the fuck out of it, especially if it's something productive, especially if it's something that is going to put your team ahead, or if it's going to kind of impress your boss, or can be added to those highlights later on. It's like, or that I mentioned before. Find something you really, really enjoy doing about this job and overwork the fuck out of it, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. So, real quick, repaying yourself, highlighting your strengths, finding a work friend, hobbies, taking breaks at work, and exploiting even the smallest things that you love about this job are the ways that I came up with to kind of thug it out until you find better.
I want to touch on work friends myself, um,
Sure.
because I currently have like a second job now that I'm enjoying, and I just started
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, And so I am right. I am very new. A lot of us are actually new, honestly, like very new to this job together. And so we come in and, we're every day, we come in and meet up before we go and separate and do our thing. And, we're talking and you can tell those who've been there longer how their friendships and stuff are right. But trying to even just wiggle my way into it has been kind of like, I'm kind of just very observant. So I've kind of just been observing, right? And like have like little comments with people here and there. But like I can
Mm-hmm.
slowly see like the progress of like talking to people and opening up about certain things a little bit more. And honestly,
Ooh, I love that for
right, it's
you.
making the work. I already enjoy the job. It's very, very, very mentally and physically like demanding. It's not bad, but
Mm-hmm.
even as I enjoy going to work for what I'm working for, having those people to talk to at work now helps me out so much as well. Um, Even in the mornings, whenever I'm going to like my military job, and as I wrap that up, I'm still just enjoying the moments with those people, making light of situations, and it's I like that you talk about like, if you have that, really make sure that you take advantage of that. I feel like whenever I worked with you and Catrice, I look forward to seeing y'all. Like I look forward to Vanessa. I definitely
Yes.
look forward to Omar. Like I look forward to people,
Yes.
but y'all too, I was like, finally, we talk about this, like finally, finally. Like I look forward to this. And so make sure that you guys are definitely making some friends. And they don't have to be your friends outside of work. That's not what I'm saying. But at least somebody at work that you could have, if you need to talk, you have somebody to talk to that understands
Right.
because
Or
y'all are
you
in
have
the same field.
right, exactly. Or you guys can take those breaks together and make, light of, whatever situation, or like he was saying, just kind of vent to each other. Because everyone needs someone they can vent to about
Okay,
stuff that's relatable to
I have
them.
questions
Yeah.
that I really want to get to.
Okay.
Have you ever had a bad boss? Like a terrible manager, like somebody that was
uh
just like a bad boss. Have you ever had a bad boss?
yes. And so, how I mentioned before, kind of like that naggy boss that like puts her fucking staplers in your face or
Mm-mm.
whatever. I've never had that, because Lord,
Bitch should
no,
get
I've never had
slapped.
that. I've had
Okay.
bad bosses in a sense that you either don't know what you're doing, and I kind of am newer to the position, so I've trained in a different way than you have, or bad in a sense that you just don't give a fuck
Hmm.
about anyone but yourself. And it's so apparent. And you try to hide it, but I see through your fucking funny shit. And so, yes, I definitely have had not great bosses.
My first job, guys, I worked at Sonic Drive-In off of MLK and 23rd in Oklahoma City. If you know the ghetto. And that job, for that to be my first job, Lord God really pulled me out of that. I don't know if y'all are Christian or not, but I'm gonna use his name. He pulled me out of that situation because my last day, I never forget throwing my metal changer at my manager's fucking head. The changer that us clubhouse wear, I chunked
You
that
never
shit.
told me that
I chunked
story.
that shit at that bitch. You got me fucked up for like the second time. You guys, like when you have worker, because I feel like jobs like that were replaceable, but like bitch, you be needing me. You ain't replaced me yet, bitch. You need me right here, right now. So like act like you got some sense. Treat me with respect. I hate a boss that feel like you're supposed to. I hate a person in general who feel like you deserve my respect, but you're not gonna give me respect. Bitch, you gotta give it to give it. And I literally, and again, I said it before, I will match energies. I do not care who you are. That's why I got a ticket now. I match energies, and if you giving me mouth, I'm gonna give that shit right back to you. And y'all, I had a manager, Sonic. I will say I got Aaron and Danae out of Sonic. Love y'all girls. But job overall trash. Um,
But
I had like I had such shitty bosses, bro. I really want to name drop these bitches. They can't whoop me.
no, no,
But
no.
we had a whole nother store manager come from down the street and she's at my store. And let me tell y'all this story real quick. Like one day,
Hmm.
she was dating my big boss, like my general manager. Them two, they were dating with their ugly asses. Like it was just gross. But anyway, she came to my store and she was trying to tell us what to do. And so we slowed down. We're cleaning up the store, trying to get it together. And so she pulls the drive-through window open. I'm already running drive-through. And she's like, hey, what's your name? Strike one, bitch. I got a name. Use it. Uh, she's like, we need to sweep the parking lot. I was like, okay, I'll get to it when I finish. She said, I need it done. I said, again, I'll get to it when I finish. And so she was backing up, and I went to pull the drive-through door closed, y'all, and the bitch snatched it. She snatched it, y'all, and I'll never forget. I pushed that shit open with both hands. I said, I will fuck you up right now. Do not do this. And my manager came in trying to be a big boss. I'm like, bitch, you'll get beat up too. I told y'all this. Do not disrespect me because of your power. That is rude. Don't snatch from me. I didn't snatch from you. Do not snatch from me. And I tell you, I had to go through like little tit for tats, like manager trying to be petty. You know what I did? Mama, come get this bitch.
Mm.
Mama came up there. They slowed down for a little bit, and eventually it became like so naggy and so petty. So guess what I did? I started looking for another job. I'm not gonna go to
Mm.
jail behind y'all's petty bullshit. Like, especially because I know I will turn this place upside down and don't need that on my record. You know what I mean? And so I say all this to
Mm-hmm.
say, when y'all have like little bitch bosses and petty little bosses, do not let them take you out of your character because it will happen. Do not keep letting them push you around and feel like because they have power that they can do that. Like I even had to deal with racial discrimination at this job, y'all. And man, it's do not push yourself through that for too long because it really will take a toll on you. And I was what 16. I had just started working there, and I was like, hell no, I'm good. No. And
That kind of environment can really take a toll on your psychological
I was
health.
young, guys,
And
young
seriously, it really can. Any kind of toxic environment, any kind of,
man.
bad work environment has like puts stress on you, gives you anxiety, gives you insomnia, gives you all of these different things that you don't even take into account because you're so fucking stressed about it.
I think that was like the one and only job. I mean, of course, I've had my like high highs and low lows in the military, but like that was one of
Mm-hmm.
the jobs where like I could have killed this manager if that changer would have actually hit that motherfucker. Like you probably would have died because I chunked that bitch. Like I quit. That was my words. I fucking quit, and I threw that shit and I left. I'm not doing this no more. And always go back to that, but then think about the jobs that I had after that and how I didn't really have to deal with that because I had fucking managers who really cared more about me than that. And for that to be my first set of managers, and they were all
I wouldn't want to
shit.
work for the rest of my life.
Right. But then again, Sunglass Hut was one of those jobs. Even my boss that I have, like with my second job right now, like he's good. Like so far, I'm really enjoying it. Um, I worked at 7-Eleven. I had multiple managers there. I only had one bickering moment with one supervisor. Um, and it still fuck you too. But regardless, it was just like little petty shit. But it's like, okay, like, are you gonna fire me? No, you need me because I gotta close down this store by myself. You know this. You know what I mean? So like, let's pick and choose our battles wisely here. You can't just pick at a person. You
Ooh.
guys in the workplace, know your value in the workplace. Know your worth. Know your value.
Mhm.
You are valuable. You know.
Mhm.
Um,
I love that.
Damn. Okay, I really wanted to ask this though. What is your
Mhm.
ideal? What does the ideal workplace look like for you? What is the ideal workplace like? You dream this in your mind, like this is the job that you go to and you are like happy, like your position. What does that look like for you?
I was actually going to kind of not harp on it, but kind of go into that. It's funny that you asked that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, for me personally, being compensated so that I can go on a vacation in like 2 week with like the 2 week notice. So, more money, more PTO. So like maybe a good actually, I'll rephrase this since I know that it exists. Unlimited PTO, and so
That's the thing.
better. It is a thing. Um, More benefits, so better benefits, and I don't exactly know what those look like yet, but definitely better benefits. Um, so for me personally, it's interesting and it's not mundane, and I'm constantly learning stuff
Hmm.
to better and grow my career. And I'm constantly learning stuff to teach other people. Uh, so it's a work environment. It's very similar to the one that you were describing at Sunglass Hut, and just not giving more than I feel like I'm receiving.
Yeah.
And then so as far as like day to day as stuff is concerned, as far as what I'm actually doing, my dream job is to be a sexual wellness coach.
Yes.
And so for me, I don't know if you guys ever seen it, but sex ed on Netflix, the main character's mom is a sexual therapist. Dildos and vaginas and human body parts in her office, not like real ones, but the human genitalia everywhere in her office. That's my ideal dream job. My ideal dream job is helping people to be sexually well,
Yeah.
whether that means finding what you like, whether that means healing from trauma, whether that means whatever that means, right? It's just indulging in what has been taboo, particularly for women, particularly like women of color who have like been, suppressed by this thing for so long. And so, yes, that is kind of like ideally having my own practice and having clients would be my ideal dream job.
Okay. Nice.
Yes. What about you? What does that look like for you?
Um, I have like many dream jobs. But ideally though,
Okay.
I, as I continue to work for people, I will always thank you, Susan, for impacting me the way you did. I will always look for a manager to be like Susan, if not better, because she listened to what we had to say. She heard our voices. she was continuously always asking, like, what do you think can help the store get better? What do you think can help us get better? Like, she looked for ways of
Mm-hmm.
improvement, and she took our ideas for what she could and implemented those changes. I think about, coworkers who like are able to voice what they're feeling, but not take what they're feeling and make it something bad. Like, yes, you may have a negative experience with this, but that doesn't make it have to be like an overall bad experience. Like, I don't want Sonic. I want Sunglass Hut, if not better. I want a manager who's
Yes.
listening to me, who I can communicate, who I can talk to. Even when I went to any store, like any was dope. Like and that was my friend. Like, and she was able to be my boss and be a friend. Same thing with Susan. She was able to be my big boss, but be my friend at the same time. And we were talking and conversing, and I was able to share these ideas and these thoughts, and she was able to help me here and help me there. My coworkers,
Right.
again, we all came together, we all talked, we all helped each other out, had each other's back. It was never it was no competition, and we were a commission based job. So like, you want to make your cut, but we all helped each other get up there together, because if we're all making it, then we could possibly get bonuses. And I just like the idea of working together, because we have to see each other. Let's make this as friendly
Yes.
and as positive. Let's, talk to each other. And, if some such and such is having a bad day, what can we do to help your day get better? I feel like I ask this daily with some of my peers that, I work with. What can I do to help you? What can I do to make this better for you? How can I be of service
I
for
love that.
you? And, just communicating and talking. And ideally for me, if we could just operate in a place of, I guess I'm gonna say love, but operate out of love for each other. And I
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, we're loving what we're doing. I hope I have a job that I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing right now. Um, but I hope it's like that, and I hope that I'm working with people who love it, so that we can continue to make it better and grow and continue to feed each other and just continue to just blossom into like a beautiful flower somewhere. And
I love that.
ideally,
I
I want
love
something good, something positive, something happy. Let's communicate and talk. Yeah,
Yes. And it's necessary because it affects so many, because we spend so much time here, like we've been saying, it affects you when the place that you spend most of your time at during the week, you feel like shit. And so you come home and you maybe take out those frustrations on people,
hmm
or you bring work back home and you reek of it. And so now you're um you're not being as nice to your kids, you're not being as catering to your wife, neglect your friends, or you know what I mean. There's so many different things that could possibly uh come from a toxic work environment or an unhealthy work
I
environment. So
think
thank you for
too.
saying that.
I think too. Let me say,
Mm-hmm.
what also will help improve a workplace, and ideally for me, is a manager who or a boss who knows how to communicate things effectively and not being don't down talk your person. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And so if you could communicate effectively and get your point across where it's understood, it help us to understand things versus just taking stuff out. Because honestly, I've seen it on the ship. Like, if the higher up is having a bad day, they want us all to fucking have a bad day. And that's literally what it turns
Yes.
into. Like, your bosses that you work with closely are going through shit, they put you through shit. And I don't want that. I want bosses who give a fuck about us and can communicate what they're going through, so that we have an understanding. And so, as we, again, work as a team to make shit better. Because we make stuff harder. Like, I feel like 85% of the times we make shit harder than it has to be. So,
100% agree.
yeah, that
100%.
was
I
it.
love
That
that.
was it.
Yes. Yes. No, I love it. Thank you. All right. So, one last thing, guys. And we touched on actually maybe one or two of these things. So, things to do and think about when you're about to quit your job. And Zai hit on one of them, is networking and connecting with people, making references out of the bosses that you already have, so that when you're able to move on, you have them right there. Those
Mm-hmm.
references, you have those connects. Maybe you're heavy on LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever it is. So definitely networking, communicating, and connecting with people. Update your freaking resume.
Yeah.
Update your resume so that those highlights that I mentioned earlier and those achievements that you've been working your ass off to get, those are prevalent when you are looking for another job. And so, don't know where to start? Indeed, Glassdoor. There are platform resume engines. If you're a veteran,
Zeddy.
there are platforms that you can use to help your resume stand out or help your resume look a certain way, that so that employers take a glance at it for more than 5 seconds.
Yes.
And he also said another one: applying to jobs. This goes without saying, but, and I know this can be a little like overwhelming a little bit, but applying to jobs within your skill set or the future skill set that you're trying to pursue. So if you want like a project management kind of job, look for those skill sets that project managers would have, and then you can kind of search by it like that, and then you can kind of go down the criteria list, or of location and things like that. Beef up your resume, and this is something that particularly people moving on or transitioning can do for free in the military. So by that, I just mean online courses, and you don't even have to be a veteran, online courses at Coursera.com. And I will link that in the show notes and link that in the description box. Coursera.com, they're always offering like courses from the top universities and courses from this and courses from that. And so utilizing resources like certificates that are powered by Google that you can get for free.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not sponsored at all, but HubSpot Academy is another place that you could possibly go to get certificates that beef up your resume and that make you possibly stand out for that marketing job you want, or possibly stand out for that social media job that you want.
So, and I like that you are really hitting on the resume. And let me add this, y'all. I just did my resume, and me and you were in communication about this, like tough at that time. You saw like that was my priority, and y'all,
Mm-hmm.
it is so important with the like keywords. You can go on Google and look up keywords, and like there's a website
Mm.
called Zeddy that I use. I just said it. I will say it again, Zeddy.com. You have to pay for it. I didn't. I just took the bullets and tweaked them for how I needed it. I said, but again, resumes, like you really, as you're working for a place, like you start really highlighting and taking notes of what you are doing. They taught me that in the military, and that's one skill that I even do now with my second job. Like little things that I found myself doing, I'm writing it down in a book. I have a book that I write in all the time now. Like I write it down and later on, I'm able to come back to them like, okay, I was doing this, doing that. Like, make sure you are touching your resumes. Resumes are so important. Like nowadays, it's not even applications; it's really just resumes. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Because I've applied to so many jobs on Indeed, and literally all they want to see is your resume,
yeah,
because then they have this reference to go off of,
hmm
and now we can have a conversation.
hmm
So I'll link some of those things down below, guys, too. So if you're curious or interested or whatever the case is, again, this is not sponsored, but these are some of the tools that have helped us kind of, with our resumes and beefing up your resume and things like that.
yeah.
Okay, two more. Save your money. Budget and save your money. So I had a captain who, shout out to him, Captain Baran on the Chancellorsville. So he told me, because I was very adamant about getting out of the Navy and kind of starting the rest of my life, right? And so one day we were, just shooting the shit or whatever, and he one of the biggest pieces of advice that I will remember this man giving me is to save my money for like an emergency fund for 6 months without employment. So that means you are able to pay your bills, you're able to feed yourself, you're able to, support yourself and your lifestyle for 6 months without a job.
Hmm.
For a lot of veteran or not veterans, but a lot of people who live in the Navy, like military world, that can be a lot of fucking money. That can be a lot of money because you're supporting this lifestyle that you currently have, whether it's because you know how, like, your housing's paid for and this and that and this and that. That's a lot of money that you like, but people don't think about that.
I think
People don't
it's
think.
situational now because as somebody living in San Diego, saving money is kind of on the hard side right now because everything costs so much and we're not
Mhm.
getting paid enough. And again, it's by situations, save what you can and do as you can, while we're still trying to make sure that you are feeding yourself and getting yourself things that you need, not going above and beyond. But, definitely, I hear what you're saying on the saving. But as somebody that's been in San Diego and been saying it all year, like it has been rough. Like I'm good, but I could be way, way, way better. Like way better.
So that doesn't. So, okay. So, doing what you have to do to save your money, right? So, Zai, for example, he just told us that he has another job, right? Like a side hustle type shit.
Hmm.
If you have to do that in order for you to save like $100 a month or whatever the case is, if you can do that, if that's something that's feasible for you, again, I will say, if that's something that's feasible for you, put that $100 away, put that $50 a check away, or whatever the case is, because it is going to serve you so well. So one of the things that I do to save money is I have a particular bank, and this particular bank, you know how you have like your certificates that you can create, and it starts out like $50 a month and it creates dividend on its own, and you can put money in there every month or every check or whatever, and the dividends just kind of increases. So that's one of the ways that I save money. I have a couple different certificates, and I just let the money accumulate itself, because if I put $25 in there a check, instead of you know doing whatever, maybe I sacrifice something that month if I have to, um doing that and putting it in that certificate, it's just going to create dividends for itself and accumulate money that way. That's just a tip and trick that I discovered over the years. Okay, so one last thing that we don't really talk about that much, at least I talk about it with my family, but that's something that we don't really talk about in our community, I feel. Look into health insurances outside of your job. Look into life insurance outside of your job. Because once you don't have that anymore, you don't have health insurance and you don't have life insurance. What the fuck are you supposed to do if you have to go to the ER because you have this really bad fucking rash on your hands and you don't know where it came from, and all of a sudden now you owe the hospital like thousands of dollars just for them to tell you, for them to give you this freaking 20 milligram steroid that you probably could have got over the counter.
Hmm.
Look into other health insurance outside of your job, because it's going to save you a lot of money.
I agree. I
So
agree.
those are my kind of tidbits. Okay. I know we're hitting like an hour, but listen, update your resume, network, apply to jobs, beef up your resume, save your money where you can, budget where you can, and look into health insurances and make sure you are covered, guys. That's all the things that I can think of to think about before you start to quit your job. Zai, do you have anything to add?
I just want you guys to, listen to those keys right there and, do not let a job define you, okay? You're more than that. You are a person. Make sure
Ooh,
that you're treating yourself with grace and respect and, put yourself first because ideally it's up to you to take care of you and get yourself there. And so, taking time as needed, time off, making sure that you are rewarding yourself. I'm king of rewarding myself, okay? When shit hits the fan and I got an adult. Okay, if life throws something at me, it's like, okay, I got that, but I'm about to also reward myself because I just did that. So,
I love
but
it.
making sure that I do that smartly, you know, um, just be kind to yourself, take care of yourself. Don't put up with people's shit if you don't have to. Move around. This world is big as hell, okay? It is way too many people, way too many jobs, way too much land, way too much shit to feel like you're trapped and belong at only one place, okay? That is all. Thank
Mm,
you.
I love that. With that, I think we can wrap it up.
Thank
Thank you
you.
guys so much for tuning in to us this episode. If you've listened thus far, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, which this will be on. Make sure that you are hitting the notification bell on Spotify. Make sure that you are giving us a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you're listening on. And thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support, guys. We will see you in our next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that. Happy holidays, guys.
Bye, guys.